I'm sorry, Harminder, say it again.
Yes, yes. So I have a quick question. I understand your all points. You mentioned you don't accept the request. I agree with everything. And I know I also share with my friends the same experience they have, how you mentioned the Facebook accounts are compromised. So I don't go to a detail. So if somebody send me a request, is a new person, how I verify that is this account is legitimate or no?
Hmm. Probably the best way to do it is to, number one, see if it's a duplicate, and ask the person, did you create a duplicate account? Um, if so, which one should I follow? But don't respond directly. That's the number one thing that spammers and scammers want you to do, is to either click on the link or even respond and say, I don't want to hear from you anymore, because both of those verify that you're a live person. And then what they do is they sell your information to their buddies. Okay, so the first thing you can tell them to do is don't interact with it. If you're concerned about it, you think it may be fraudulent, don't respond. Okay, don't even try and unsubscribe. That's the first thing. And then have them forward it to you and take a look. If you can't figure out if it's legitimate or not, let me know. I'll be happy to help. Okay?
Thank
Make
you,
sense?
got it. Thanks. Yes, thanks.
Sure. Now, I'm not saying that I know everything, but I know the basics, and that's enough. That allows me, I'm I spoke to the department head at the University of the Potomac. You see my shirt here, University of the Potomac. He said, I want you to be my cybersecurity subject matter expert. I said, you could find a lot of people that have more experience than me. He said, yes, but you are likable and you like sharing information and you know what goes on and why. You don't have to know all the tools. You don't have to know all the techniques. My students like you, so I'd like you to be the SME. And I was like, wow, I'm honored. Because I took a CISSP boot camp way back in 2003, and then I didn't take the exam. Since then, I've hired cybersecurity teams, but I haven't been on one myself. I've been a program manager, and I hire people into cybersecurity teams, but I don't, there's no reason for me to go like Chris is doing. Chris is on a track toward cybersecurity leadership. He really is. Me, not so much. Why? Because I've hired cybersecurity leaders. I'm literally at the level where I've been offered jobs as a CIO. So I don't need to be CISO. I can be, I can help you from a position where I have time and I can share. And I'm interested in what happens to you. The CISOs, Kate, you may have noticed this, the CISOs really interested in what they're doing. and their focus becomes my company, my business, my, whatever we're doing here, and they are 100% focused internally. They learn as much as they can. They go to as many events or take as much training as they can, but this is what pays the paycheck, So I don't have that. My job for the federal government is pretty nice, steady job, 40 hours of work each week, and then I can commit the whole rest of my time to you guys. I'm still in the IT industry. I still walk around with the cybersecurity folks and speak with them. I'm still in all the forums, and I go to all the professional events. I network. I'm a member of the Arizona Tech Council, etc. But I am not somebody where somebody says, can I get a job with you? No, you can't. See what I'm saying? I'm quasi cybersecurity, but I am not somebody who's out there doing the work all the time. My other job allows me to do this mentorship. So I wanted to share with you, thank you for that, Harminder. I wanted to share with you this Theo Joe or whatever video. Please take a few minutes to go watch this. This was eye-opening for me. And it's from March of this year. And he basically says, I found how to blacklist a malicious website within about 48 hours, all across the internet. And I'm like, wow. When I look at, and this is my, again, I call it my burner mailbox, because this is the one that I share out on public, and so I expect junk to come in from it. But I'll give this example. Here's the, oh, it's time to renew your Disney Plus membership. Yeah, great. Well, number one, I don't have Disney Plus. But along with that, look at the email address this comes from. It says Disney Plus, but it's whatever.org.uk. That's not Disney Plus. So I know that this is a fraudulent email. So I marked it as spam. I reported it to the Federal Trade Commission, just like we do on reportfraud.ftc.gov. This was one of the ones I reported. But then I saw this thing from Theo Joe. And he said, here's how you can get the website that this points to blacklisted. And I was like, oh, this would be good. We can literally imagine, you know, I get this and I mark it as spam. So I'm on Yahoo Mail. Yahoo knows that I've marked it as spam. If you remember from my previous webinars, that means that Yahoo knows. And Yahoo may pull it from other people's mailboxes if more than a couple people mark it as spam. So you're doing good when you mark it as spam, far more than when you just delete it. Number one, I blocked the website. It's up here at the top. You say block sender, and I did that. And then I marked it as spam, so that's why it says not spam up here, because I'm in the spam folder. But now I thought, well, you know, I want to go find out about how it looks on Talos Intelligence. So I went to the link and I right-click, and guess what? Links are disabled. And it says right at the top of the spam mailbox, we disabled all images and links. Oh, well, that's good. It's good that they did that. So here's what I did. I said, oh, I'm sorry, I just right-clicked in here and said view page source. And so this is what the source looks like. And then I scroll down here to rebootbubble.com. That's the malicious site. You notice it says renew free today, and then it has this. Okay, so rebootbubble.com is where this site, this email, this malicious email, let me go back to the email, points to. All right, it wants me to go there. By the way, Nerman, I know that you have Windows 11 Pro. How many of the rest of you have Pro? Or are you just running home version of Windows 10 or Windows 11? All right, this is the other thing I learned from Theo Joe. If you are out there looking at suspected malicious websites, don't do it with your regular browser. Even an in-private browser still can connect back to your source IP. All right? Even with a VPN, don't do it. Let's say you click on something, and guess what? On Windows 10 and Windows 11, you are the super user. So unintentionally, you could install stuff on your computer, most especially in your browser, that causes stuff to happen that you don't want. So Windows 10 Pro, Windows 11 Pro has what's called Windows Sandbox. The Home Edition doesn't. So I'm learning that it is possible to go in there and enable Windows 10 or Windows 11 Sandbox without having the Pro version. I did it initially. I found it this morning. I tried it a couple times. It wasn't working for me. So if anybody has been able to do this, the recommendation from Theo Joe that I fully agree with is that you only do experimentation like visiting these suspicious website links from a sandbox. And one of the best ways to do it, Windows 10, Windows 11 Pro come with it, and I've heard you can put it on Windows Home. So far it's not working for me, but I've heard you can do it. So if anybody's able to do that, please let us know how you did it. So that's just my little thing here. So I have this thing here. I say it's a fraudulent Disney Plus phishing site. The email contains a link to renew my Disney Plus subscription, but it actually takes me to a phishing site. And it was on rebootbubble.com. Okay, so Theo Joe says this is what you need in order to get a site blacklisted. The site address and where it's located, and information about why you think it should be blacklisted. So I now Cisco. So I went out and got a free Cisco account. You can go on to talosintelligence.com and look in their reputation center and look up IP and domain reputation, plug it in, and say, how does this domain or IP address come back? Well, I saw that, and it said, we are leaving, it is, originally it was reputation unavailable, and I suggested they change it to untrusted. And I gave the reason. There's the website, and here's my little spiel I gave them. And they came back and they said, thank you for your submission. You triggered a dynamic reassessment of rootbubble.com. Sufficient negative threat intelligence exists to warrant an untrusted threat level for this site. So it will be reflected within the next 24 hours. So I just helped to blacklist this website on Cisco. Now imagine being able to do the same thing on, if you watch the Theo Joe article, he did it on Google, he did it on Microsoft, he did it on McAfee, he did it on Kaspersky, you know, a whole bunch of them. And he went to all of these sites and said, bad website, here's why, bad website, here's why, and put it all in there. And then he watched how quickly they all changed over to saying this was an untrusted website. A lot of these spammers and scammers are coming from newly registered domains. I don't know if you saw in my thing here, this olnnqkte.org.uk, that's probably a brand new website. They got the website registered and they started attacking with it. Well, a newly registered website hasn't had time to build a reputation. So what we can do, and I think this is wonderful. This is gonna take all of my free time playing around with this. But what I'm gonna try and do is, if I go back and look at all my spam messages, look at all of these things in my inbox that are all coming from domains that I don't trust, because they point to domains that I don't trust. drtloh.org.uk, SiriusXM. No, that's not Sirius. See what I'm saying? So if we can collect that link, and the only way to do it is to right-click in the message and say view page source, or pull it out of the spam folder, which I'm not going to do. I'm going to leave it in the spam folder, view page source, and then go down and look. Now these ones at the top, this is for a little icon. So don't worry about that. This is for, I don't know, it says, you know, JavaScript, blah, 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 blah. I'm not interested in that either. I'm looking for something that says click here. Okay, here we are. Target, on click, return window to show a warning. Hey, look at that. That show warning, Yahoo put that in there. That's how they disabled the link. But here's where it points to. And I'm just going to take part of it and drop it into, and I'm going to do another one here, and say this is the IP address that I believe is fraudulent. So I copy it. See where I got it? I got it from down here, 211.149, 211.149, had two links. All right, so I go to Talos Intelligence, go to Reputation Center, IP and Domain Reputation. Reputation lookup, tell me about this website or this IP address. And it says neutral. Well, guess what? I'm going to go in, after I collect all the information on it, I'm going to go in and submit a ticket on that. The more people submit bad reputation tickets, the sooner this is going to flip over to untrusted or malicious. So I think this is pretty fun. And by the way, the amount of time you spend on this, I'm going to go back over here to our IR team activity log. Look, I added it all here and said, if you're doing any work on those websites, count it in what you report here, because these are all activities that an incident response analyst does on a day-to-day basis. You're learning. Sure, it sounds like a simple thing, but what if that one spam message or phishing message was received by, well, I'll give you one really good example. There was a ransomware called NotPetya, N-O-T-P-E-T-Y-A. It was directed against a group in the Ukraine, in fact. And there were a lot of people that did business with Ukraine. This was back in 2016 or 2017 as part of the war in the, wherever it is, next to Ukraine. But they were targeting Ukraine industries. And one of the companies that does a lot of work in Ukraine is Maersk, M-E-E-R-S-K, the big shipping and trucking transportation industry. Maersk got compromised by NotPetya, and for something like 2 weeks, every computer at Maersk was turned off. Global shipping almost came to a stop because Maersk was compromised. So I'm using that as an example. In my organization, NotPetya made it through the mail filters, and of our 17,000 people, 6 clicked on the link. Now the link contained JavaScript, and so a JavaScript warning popped up and said, oh no, it was in Microsoft Word, and the warning popped up and said, well, this is a Microsoft Word attachment. It could contain dangerous stuff. Are you sure you want to proceed? Yes. And then it's popped up the JavaScript warning and said, stuff could happen in your computer. Are you sure you want to do this? Yes. 6 people went all the way through that and literally bypassed all the warnings and said, shut up, computer, I want to see this. And those 6 people became infected inside of our environment and encrypted over 170,000 files before we were able to get it under control. And by the way, the federal government does not pay ransom. Oh, guess what? We had to go into the backups and pull those old files and say, everything you've worked on for the last 2 weeks is gone. Do it again. So just something to think about. That's what you help prevent when you help to blacklist these malicious websites. And Theo Joe says, he tried it on, 12, 13 different sites. Find one, like Google Safe Browsing. That's a good one. Google claims that they're installed on 1 billion computers worldwide. Well, that might be a good one to start with. But I'm starting with Cisco because I like Cisco. I want Cisco to be successful. So whatever business they're in or whatever activities they're doing, I want to help make that work. I don't have stock in Cisco or anything like that. I don't know if my mutual funds have Cisco in them. I just like Cisco as a company. I've been working with them, their products and hardware for 20 plus years. Cisco is a reputable company. So when they came out with this Talos Intelligence, and oh, by the way, here's the thing. When you go to networking events and you've been helping that company, find a company that's local to you that attends all your networking events and say, hey, yeah, I've been doing reputation tickets. Really? Yeah. Is there something that you can show me that will teach me how to do it even better or faster? Can I do bulk updates at the same time, bulk reports? There you go. And they'll teach you. And you're standing there networking, learning from the people that work for that company. Why? Because they're paid to go stand there and talk to you. All right? So it all makes you better. All the time that you spend on these things, I want you to report. So I went down here and I said, if the amount of time you spent working on this site and then the number of reports you submitted. So it may be that the amount of time is going to be much higher and you may have only reported 2 things to the FTC or Amazon, but what I'm considering on this form is adding something that says, how many tickets did you submit to Talos Intelligence or, Google Safe Browsing or those guys? And maybe, what do you guys think? Should this be total number of reports to everybody? So if you do, I'll give an example. Something says it's from Amazon Prime. Well, we know that reportfraud.ftc.gov tells you to report it to them. We know that Amazon tells you to report it to them. And now, if we can get this to a point where we're doing it in an organized fashion, we could be reporting it to Cisco, Microsoft, Google, Kaspersky. All right, so one malicious email, you have now made 6 reports. See what I'm saying? One email. But you can now report that if you, reported it to McAfee, you reported it to whatever, then how about if we just say total number of reports? Would that make sense to everybody? And just keep track of your reports. Not the number of malicious emails you got, but where you reported them. And Theo Joe, he had one domain, and I think he reported it to 13 different sites. Go watch that video. It is, I was like, yeah, go Joe. Let's all make this, let's all turn these bad folks around so they won't be able to send it to other people. The other stuff is, if somebody wants to prosecute them for fraud, great, but let's stop them from sending more. This is even more exciting than report fraud, my opinion. What do you guys think? Sound like fun?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's just me. The most important thing I'm trying to do here is make sure you all realize that people may hire you because of your technical skills, but they absolutely will seriously consider hiring you because you are a good person and are working toward helping make this a better world. And your resume should reflect that. In fact, if you look at those bullets that I gave you, I put something very similar in there. I said helping them to live safer lives. That's a big deal. Not what you've done, but how it's helping. Okay? So it all adds up, and I want to give you every opportunity to catalog it and report it so that I can then report you've done this much work and activities as an incident response analyst. I'm giving you the opportunity to put experience in your resumes. You do it through this program. And just so you know, so far in January, Kate and Ron are the only two people other than me that have filed any reports. Now, Twyla, I know you're the dark horse. You always come in the last few hours of the month and fill up the reports. I've watched you do it. Whatever works for you. Just so you guys know, Twyla burns it up in the last couple days of the month. I don't know if you save it or whatever, but you know, you're the one that nobody sees coming. So, what do you guys think? I'm pleased about this. I think that it will be helpful for you. It will teach you how to do something, and it'll help you feel good that you're helping to put these scammers out of business. Oh, this won't work anymore for me. Oh, this, because Kate reported it. This won't work anymore for me because Melanie reported it. This won't work anymore for me because Twyla reported it. What I want to do is discourage these scammers so much they decide to go get a real job and stop bugging everyone around me. Is it an impossible task? I don't think so. If I can stop one, that's enough for me. Thoughts? I'm all done. That's all I had planned to share. What do you guys think?
I was thinking about the safety. Do they escape viruses or any other, I don't know, do they escape sandboxes? And how to do this safe?
No. A sandbox is also another way of thinking about it is a virtual machine. It is self-contained, and it doesn't. If you're using the Windows sandbox, it doesn't retain anything after it's closed. There is nothing left in Windows that came from that sandbox. That's one of the things that Microsoft made sure of. You can also do it using VMware or that sort of thing, but you have to make sure it, when you do that, it has the possibility of being reached back into your system. Nerman, what is your experience with sandboxing? I know you spoke about it before.
Yeah, I was using it's basically the same safe environment. And there are like some videos on YouTube how you can use sandbox, but it's isolated. So you can do it's like you said, it's virtual machine basically. I suggest you, Kate, like you if you go to YouTube, just type in like sandbox, Windows sandbox, and you will find a lot of those videos, and you will see, even you can, it's really good. So you can follow those people and do the same thing as they do. And I guarantee you, like in like less than an hour, you will be able to use sandbox. You will learn. It's,
Now, if you're using, thank you, Nerman, if you're using the home version, Sandbox is not installed by default. So we as a group need to find a way that we can get Windows Sandbox installed on Home Edition. I tried one website and I'm getting failed to initialize errors. So that didn't work for me. So if you guys we have to look around, experiment if you feel comfortable doing that. If not, just wait for someone else to experiment, and then drop it on Facebook or email if you have a success story. Sandbox, if you're doing any visiting to any suspected sites, don't use your home system. Even if you VPN it off, even if you use safe browsing, those are not guarantees. A sandbox is a guarantee that nothing's going to get back from that site. Now, while you're in the sandbox, you could end up getting infected. Close the sandbox, it's gone. It's a virtual machine. Nothing goes from that machine to the machine it's on, your laptop. Nothing goes between the two, okay? Except video and, that sort of thing. When you click the mouse, it clicks in there. All right? Okay, everybody, I look forward to this. I'm going to be just going crazy with this. It looks so fun to me to make the bad guys have a bad day. That's what I want. So, okay, everybody have a wonderful Saturday. And for those of you that are in the United States, you may have a Monday off too, because it's Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday celebrated on Monday. So if you have it, wonderful. If not, sorry, go back to work. Talk to you guys later.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a great weekend.